Our guest is already waiting for this very important issue to be discussed. We have a scientific fortune teller of a sort with us, Ihor Novikov, former advisor to the president of Ukraine. Hello, Ihor.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so future is kind of terrible or terrific. Tell me about it. What do you think?
Well, well, first of all, I have to specify I'm not a fortune teller. What I study as a futurist, although I hate that term, is how technology affects human behavior at macro level, and therefore how the world is developing, which is incredibly important even now. My job's become much easier now because you can now see the change with the naked eye, and the spirit of turbulence obviously is affecting everyone. So yeah, no, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm an academic.
Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. You are a scientific fortune teller.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you agree with me. It was easy. Is it that easy to persuade? Yeah, I mean, all right. Well, let us pass to my other question. If that would be for you to decide, how would you change the world order in the nearest future to make the future look better?
Well, that's one of the biggest debates in the in the innovation within the innovation community, because there are two extreme potential outcomes of this change, of this period of change. One is called the world of abundance, therefore the world where we use technology available to us to make everyone's lives better and to promote democracy, liberty, freedom, everything. And the other one is the anti-utopian scenario, where basically you have digital dictatorships basically all over the world, and the road to that scenario is very painful and very bad. One thing I can tell you, in my personal opinion, I think we're gonna see the glimpse of what the future 50 years look like after the presidential election in the United States next year.
Yeah, everything depends on the presidential elections in the United States. Have you noticed?
I have noticed, but
why is that, I wonder?
It's pretty obvious. I mean, if you build a world where we have the so-called world policeman, we kind of depend on the decisions that the American people make within their democracy. But once that kind of world order is challenged, and it is being challenged as we speak, we can see certain partnerships develop. Basically, then it's even more important what the US does to counter that or to accept that, and that depends on the outcome of the election.
Yeah, well, more or less clear with the United States, more or less clear with the future of the United States. What about Ukraine? What role Ukraine plays in the formation of a new world order, whatever it means, whatever that will be?
Well, that role, I mean, do you want do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want the truth?
That's very important. Tell me anything you like. I mean, tell me what I hate to hear.
Right. Yeah, because, the future isn't as bright as people think. And unfortunately, we have to be realistic about it. Now, Ukraine's role in that is being determined, obviously, on the battlefield at the moment. But more importantly, one phenomenon that has been emerging over the last 10 years, and that's become crucial to even like destinies of nations and countries, is the so-called information society. So everything is about storytelling now. Everything is about attention. Everything is about information. And unfortunately, Ukraine's role will depend on not only on how we hopefully win this war, but how we tell the story. Because if we're forgotten, we're going to be left alone facing, the evil up north. So, and not only up north. I mean, there's a certain axis of evil being formed right now.
Right. Well, maybe then the ways should be changed. Maybe new ways should be created. Maybe the new international platform should be created for those like Ukraine in the center of creation of that platform. And that platform will be describing what is going on and why Ukraine wants to have an epicenter position in all that. Maybe the idea of that platform is a good idea. Just asking.
Well, the idea of such a platform is a good idea, but once again, let me bring you back to what I just told you.
Right.
It's all about people. It's all about people's attention. If you look, for example, at Slovakia at the moment, I mean, they've elected a pro-Russian prime minister now who basically is denying Ukraine any military help, and that country is, in the heart of Europe. If you look at the American domestic politics, you're seeing similar phenomenon where populism and even certain degrees of foreign intervention via propaganda and populism and foreign agents within the country is taking its toll. And unfortunately, democracies are really badly protected against that. So before we think about any platform, we need to solve the underlying problem, because regardless of what platform you build, you're going to have your Orban, or you're going to have, whatever that guy's name is in Slovakia, you're going to have your Trump or Giuliani or somebody else who's just going to destroy that institution from within. And therefore, we can kind of put those band-aids all over the place, but until we kind of cure the actual disease, until we actually find that new stability, unfortunately, any attempt at building new platforms or even new world order is going to fail, ultimately.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you, but maybe we have to take the instability as a new stability. Maybe we'll have to understand that the stability and order is not maybe some sort of being ready for the world to a next mayhem. Maybe the United Nations Security Council that is ready to react on an international thug presiding over it would be the new idea of the whole thing. Maybe how fast the international organizations react to something. The Security Council securing actually anything. Maybe this is the thing.
Well, let me begin by telling you what I usually tell my students at Singularity. So the new reality means that, do you remember how our parents used to tell us you have to stand firmly on your own 2 feet? Now, standing still on a treadmill is a recipe for disaster. So I think the kind of accepting that instability and being adaptive to it is
exactly
at the core of Darwinism. Right, it's at the core of evolution and surviving. And also, instead of standing firmly on our own 2 feet, as our parents told us, we need to learn to ride a bike. So that's kind of point number one. But in terms of UN Security Council, I mean, I'm sorry to disappoint, but that's an organization that appeared on the world map nearly 100 years ago, 80 years ago.
Well,
whatever.
I thought you would just tell me like it was a big bang, and before that was the United Nations Security Council.
No. United Nations Security Council was formed for the post-Second World War reality. It served its purpose, but we're living in a completely different reality, and therefore, kind of relying on old institutions is useless. I mean, they're not going to do anything. It's not about how quickly they react. If you have the aggressor country sitting there at the table, spreading lies and propaganda and having veto power, what's the point in that useless organization?
Well, I mean, look at Ihor. Yeah, yes. I mean, look at the questions they're asking. We don't have mechanisms to make for that not to happen. What kind of a mechanism do you really need to stand up and walk away? What kind of a mechanism is that?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I'm a huge fan of, this probably slightly entropic in its nature, but this move towards decentralization of everything. Right, okay. I'd prefer to have strong alliances with the United States, the United Kingdom, and certain states in Europe and in Asia. I'd take that over any global multinational institution that's supposed to prevent evil from happening. So I'd take that decentralized bilateral approach over any more complex forms of institutions, because they simply don't work. I mean, democracy is being challenged now. So any institution that has the need for a unanimous decision or veto power, and that involves more than 2 countries, is sooner or later going to be affected by populism.
And I thank you so very much for you being curious and very scientific about that. I just love to hear that. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you.